Hello my dear students, welcome back to my channel. If you are listening to my channel for the first time, please subscribe my channel so that you will get all the future notifications. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that you will get the notifications earlier. So now let us come back to the topic. Now today's session we will do with electron transport system in case of mitochondria. Already I have completed up to Krebs cycle, and we have also listed down the products of Krebs cycle. So I will give you my YouTube link in my description box. You can go through all my videos where I have done the respiration chapter. So last I completed is Krebs cycle. So now we will do electron transport system, that is in mitochondria. So now let us see what are all the main features of this electron transport chain. So here glucose, when it is completely oxidized, we find the reduced coenzymes are found, that is NADH2 and FADH2. And these NADH2 and FADH2, they must be oxidized. They are the storehouses of energy. So they must be oxidized, and they are oxidized through electron transport system to release energy. So here energy is released during electron transport system in the form of ATP. Now electron transport system, it is located on inner mitochondrial membrane, and it consists of a series of coenzyme cytochromes that take part in the movement of electrons, passage of electrons, and the electrons are passed on to ultimate electron acceptor, that is oxygen. So in aerobic respiration, it is at this stage oxygen is required. It is the ultimate acceptor of electrons through the entire electron transport chain. And presence of, now if we take oxygen, how it is very important in this process. Presence of oxygen is vital because it drives the whole process by removing hydrogen from the system. So when it is accepting electrons, at the simultaneously, it also removes hydrogen. It also brings about transport of hydrogen. How that is taking place, we are just going to understand diagrammatically about electron transport chain. So therefore, oxygen, therefore, it is called as, it is the final acceptor of hydrogen. Though it can transport electrons, but it is considered to be a final acceptor of hydrogen. Now, the energy of this oxidation reduction, when the oxidation reduction process is taking place, some energy is released. It is the movement of electrons. So when it is movement of electrons, we call it as energy. And this energy is utilized for production of proton gradient, which is required for phosphorylation. You know, phosphorylation is synthesis of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. So therefore, here for phosphorylation, the proton gradient which is required, that is due to the energy released during oxidation and reduction process. That we will see again at diagrammatically when we discuss, that we will see. Therefore, the entire process is called as oxidative phosphorylation here. The process is called oxidative phosphorylation. The same phosphorylation we also find in chloroplast. There it takes place in presence of light. So there we call it as photophosphorylation. And here we call it as oxidative phosphorylation. Now let us see the next feature. Electron transport operates in the inner mitochondrial membrane. So all these systems, all these cytochromes and coenzymes, all these are located on inner mitochondrial membrane. Electron transport in mitochondria, it consists of 4 complexes which are involved in electron transport, and the 5th complex that help in transport of protons. And they are located, all these complexes are located on inner mitochondrial membrane. So before we start with the actual process of electron transport, the diagram, first I'll give you what are all the different complexes, how we can understand the different complexes. I will write it down separately and let us try to understand what are all the different complexes involved. So let us understand the complexes which are involved during electron transport. There are 5 complexes. So let us see the first one, complex 1. Complex 1. Complex 1 is called as NADH dehydrogenase complex. It is called NADH dehydrogenase complex. This complex has a prosthetic group of FMN. FMN is flavin mononucleotide. That is the prosthetic group. And it is made up of about 6 proteins. And this complex is involved in oxidation of mitochondrial NADH2. The NADH2 formed in the matrix of mitochondria, that is oxidized through this complex. That is called as the first complex, complex 1. Now the second complex, complex 2. Complex 2, that is called as a succinate ubiquinone reductase complex. Succinate and ubiquinone. UQ means ubiquinone reductase complex. Succinate ubiquinone. I'll write the name here. Ubiquinone reductase complex. This complex is involved in oxidation of FADH2. This complex is involved in oxidation of FADH2. It has a coenzyme. FAD. And this is also made up of about 6 proteins. And besides this, the most important feature of this complex, this is called succinate reductase or succinate dehydrogenase complex also. It is called succinate reductase, or it is also called succinate dehydrogenase complex. The most important feature of this enzyme, mainly succinate dehydrogenase enzyme, this enzyme is also involved in Krebs cycle. It is a Krebs cycle enzyme, but it is not located in matrix. Instead, it is located on inner mitochondrial membrane. So, the main feature of this is this enzyme is not found in matrix, but in the inner mitochondrial membrane, inner mitochondrial membrane. And this enzyme has two functions, dual functions or two functions. What are those two functions? First function is it is involved in Krebs cycle. Second function, it is also involved in electron transport system. So this has two functions, this particular enzyme. And remaining all 9 enzymes of Krebs cycle, you know Krebs cycle has 10 reactions catalyzed by 10 enzymes. Except succinic dehydrogenase, remaining all 9 enzymes, they are located inside the matrix. This is the only enzyme which is outside the matrix, that is, it is located on inner mitochondrial membrane. That is about the complex 2. Now let us see about the complex 4. Complex 3. Complex 2 we completed. Let us see what is complex 3. Complex 3 is called as cytochrome C reductase complex. Cytochrome C reductase complex. And this complex is made up of cytochrome B and cytochrome C1 along with 2 proteins. Iron containing proteins. 2 iron containing proteins. That is the complex 3. Complex 3 receives electrons from ubiquinone. It receives electrons from ubiquinone and transfers to another cytochrome called cytochrome C. That is about what is complex 3. Now let us take what is complex 4. Let us study about, understand what is complex 4. Complex 4 is called as cytochrome C oxidase. It is called cytochrome C oxidase because this takes electrons from cytochrome C, which is a cytochrome involved in electron transport chain. This is what we are going to do in the diagram. And this complex 4 is made up of 2 copper containing proteins. It is made up of 2 copper containing proteins and cytochrome A and cytochrome A3. 2 copper containing proteins, cytochrome A and A3. So it is also called cytochrome A and A3 complex or cytochrome C oxidase complex. So all these 4 complexes, 1, 2, 3, 4, all these 4 complexes are involved in electron transport. Finally, from complex 4, from this complex, the electrons are finally accepted by oxygen. Finally accepted by oxygen. And this oxygen combines with protons to form water at the end, which is called as a metabolic water. The water which is formed at the end of electron transport system, it is called as a metabolic water. So that is the function of complex 4. So main function of complex 4 is formation of metabolic water. Now lastly, the complex 5. Let us see what is complex 5. Complex 5 is called as F0F1 complex, or it is also called as ATP synthetase complex. Just like found in chloroplast, here also we find F0F1 or ATP synthetase complex. These F0F1 particles, these are also called as oxysomes. They are also called as oxysomes. So these F0F1 particles, they have 2 parts, that is F0 part and F1 part. So F0, it is embedded within the membrane. This is F0 part, embedded within the membrane, inner mitochondrial membrane. And this is the F1 part. F1 part will come out of the membrane. F0 functions as proton channel. It functions as proton channel, that is it helps in transport of protons. And F1 is the site for ATP synthesis. It is the site for ATP synthesis. F0 is called proton channel. It is embedded within the membrane. And F1, it is projecting into the matrix. It projects into the matrix. So, therefore, it is the site for ATP synthesis. So, this last complex, fifth complex, is involved in ATP synthesis and proton translocation. Due to transport of protons, there is a synthesis of ATP, just like we have done in case of chloroplast. Okay, now let us see the what is the actual electron transport chain and how does the proton translocation takes place. Now let us go to this diagram where we can represent all the 5 complexes. So I'll show you one by one all the 5 complexes. So this diagram you will find in NCERT textbook also. So you can copy the diagram, understand the diagram from NCERT textbook. So this is the last 5th complex up to the 5th complex. So now let us see how the electron transport will take place through this electron transport chain. So first we will try to understand the NADH2 formed in matrix. So this is the matrix, this is the inner membrane, and this is intermembrane space between the 2 membranes. So when we look into the matrix, NADH2 is formed in the matrix. So this NADH2 formed in matrix, it must undergo oxidation. That means it must lose electrons and protons. So NADH2, when it is oxidized, it will produce NAD. And during its oxidation, how all the electron chain will pass, what are all the cytochromes and complexes, that's what we are going to understand through this diagram. So let us first see NADH2 formed in matrix. So when it is oxidized, it releases first 2 electrons. Protons remain within the matrix itself. So these electrons first pass through FMN, which is a prosthetic group of this complex, then FES protein, and then it is accepted by ubiquinone. Ubiquinone is another mobile carrier. It is considered to be a mobile carrier which connects complex 1 and complex 3. This is the complex 3. So this connects complex 1 and complex 3. So electrons from FES, they are accepted by ubiquinone. Ubiquinone also takes up 2 protons from matrix. It takes 2 protons from matrix and then it gets completely reduced. This reduced form, this is called as ubiquinol. This is called as a ubiquinol. And this reduced form will now give electrons to the 3rd complex, that is to cytochrome B and then to C1. And from C1, the electrons now are taken by another mobile carrier that is called cytochrome C. This cytochrome C is a mobile carrier which is located towards the outer side of inner membrane. That means towards the intermembrane space. The cytochrome C are 2 molecules. These 2 are the 2 molecules. They are located towards the intermembrane space. Electrons coming from cytochrome C1, they are taken by cytochrome C. And from 2 molecules of cytochrome C, then the electrons pass to cytochrome A. The cytochrome C also is a mobile carrier. Mobile carrier means they can move within their place. And this cytochrome C, when it is mobile carrier, how is it transporting from cytochrome C1 to A? That means it is connecting 3 and 4. Cytochrome C is connecting 3 and 4. And then it comes to the 4th complex, that is cytochrome A, and then to A3, cytochrome A and A3. And finally, the electrons, 2 electrons coming from A3, finally these electrons are accepted by 2 protons and oxygen, resulting in formation of 1 water molecule. This is called as a metabolic water. So when NaDH2 from matrix is oxidized, it requires half O2, that means one oxygen atom, and it releases one water molecule. So this is the electron transport for NaDH2. The same thing, I am going to write the sequence and tell you what is the sequence of the electron transport, so that will make your work more easy. So let me write the sequence here. So what is it here? This is the sequence of electron transport during oxidation of NaDH2. So starting first from NaDH2, it is passing to FMN and then to FES and then to ubiquinone, which gets completely reduced to ubiquinol. Then from ubiquinone, it is passing to the third complex, that is cytochrome B of third complex, and then cytochrome C1. From cytochrome C1, it is taken by cytochrome C, which is a mobile carrier. Then it moves to fourth complex from cytochrome C to cytochrome A and cytochrome A3, finally to oxygen to liberate water. So here I will write half O2 because it is one oxygen atom. This is the path of electron for oxidation of NaDH2. Okay, I hope it is clear. Same thing now FADH2. When FADH2 from matrix have to be oxidized, FADH2 also has to be oxidized to release energy. The FADH2 will enter through the second complex, that is succinate dehydrogenase complex. So through second complex, it releases electrons and protons. The electrons move through FAD, FES, and then it moves to mobile carrier, that is ubiquinone, and then to cytochrome B and C1, that is third complex. It has to, this I have shown in blue line. This is the path of the electron from second complex. FAD, FES, ubiquinone, which gets reduced to UQH2 by accepting protons from the matrix, just like the previous one. And from ubiquinone to cytochrome B, cytochrome C1, and then cytochrome C, 2 molecules, the mobile carrier, and then to cytochrome A, A3, finally by oxygen, and then release of water. This is the path of electron transport for oxidation of FADH2, which is formed in the matrix, in the Krebs cycle. The NaDH2 which is formed in matrix, or FADH2 which is formed in matrix. This is the path of electron. Same thing now I am going to write it for FADH2 also separately. Children, you have to also note it down simultaneously when you are learning it. So when FADH2 is oxidized, it is moving to FAD of the second complex and then FES, and then it is moving to ubiquinone. Ubiquinone to just like the NaDH2 third complex, cytochrome B, and then it is same cytochrome C1, and then to cytochrome C and cytochrome A, and then A3, and then half O2, and finally release of one water molecule. This is the path for FADH2 also. Now, one very important thing. Now, when electrons are moving, movement of electrons means it is liberation of energy. As the electrons are moving from one complex to the other, Like suppose we start with first complex. The electrons are moving through first complex and they are coming to the third one. So when electrons are moving up to the third, that means there is some liberation of energy. That energy is used for pumping of protons. This is called pumping of 4 protons from matrix to intermembrane space. That is what we have shown by an arrow. So what is this arrow or what is this movement of protons is when electrons are passing from first complex to the next third one, the energy which is liberated, that is utilized for pumping of protons from matrix to intermembrane space. This is to create proton gradient. We have done earlier the ATP synthesis is required because of proton gradient, because once the proton gradient is created, then it can help in synthesis of ATP. So this proton gradient is created due to movement of electrons, as electrons are moving. Similarly, when the electrons are moving from third complex to the next, that is they are moving to the fourth complex, the energy which is liberated, that is utilized for pumping of another 4 protons. So the proton movement is taking place through first complex, through the third complex. Then next we also find 2 protons are moving from the fourth complex also. So as the electrons are finally reaching oxygen, the 2 protons are moving towards intermembrane space. Another 2 protons are utilized for formation of water. So altogether, according to this type of movement of electrons and transport of protons, we find once the NADH2 is oxidized completely to release water, we find there is movement of 10 protons altogether, accumulation of 10 protons in the intermembrane space. There is an accumulation of 10 protons in intermembrane space. This is called as a proton gradient. This proton gradient is required for synthesis of ATP. Similarly, when we observe FADH2, FADH2 is passing through second complex. So FADH2 through FES, ubiquinone, it is passing through the third. And then coming to cytochrome C, mobile carriers, and then finally to oxygen. In this process, it is not involving complex 1. Complex 1 is not involved. So the protons which are accumulated are only 4 and plus 2, only 6 protons are accumulated due to oxidation of FADH2. So I will write it as a summary. So during oxidation of NADH2, 10 protons accumulate in intermembrane space. 10 protons accumulate in intermembrane space. 10 protons. But during oxidation of FADH2, 6 protons only they accumulate. 6 protons only accumulate in intermembrane space. In the intermembrane space. 6 protons here, 10 protons. Why only 6 protons for FADH2? Is because there is no involvement of first complex. So this diagram, children, you have to understand thoroughly. Now the protons which are accumulated in intermembrane space, they form a proton gradient. And due to breakdown of that proton gradient, there will be formation of ATP. This is what is called as a oxidative phosphorylation. So for breakdown of movement of every 2 protons through this F0 F1 channel. F0 is a proton channel, F1 is a site for ATP synthesis. So for movement of every 2 protons, there is synthesis of ATP. So whatever protons are accumulated in the intermembrane space, the proton gradient is produced. That proton gradient is broken by this F0, F1 complex. This we have discussed very clearly during chemiosmosis. This is also a chemiosmotic process which is taking place in mitochondria. So during chemiosmosis, a proton gradient is established, and that proton gradient is broken with the help of F0, F1 complex, and that F0, F1 complex also help in synthesis of ATP. So here already we have done F0 is the proton channel, F1 is the site for ATP synthesis. This we also call it as a facilitated diffusion of protons. So for every 2 protons, there is a synthesis of 1 ATP molecule. So this is what we have done under electron transport and also proton translocation for synthesis of ATP. In my next session, we will discuss about what is oxidative phosphorylation. What exactly I will explain to you little more detail. Oxidative phosphorylation and balance sheet of aerobic respiration, that is energetics of aerobic respiration. How much of energy is produced, what is the energy produced, how it is efficient. These we are going to discuss in my next video. So for now, I am going to conclude this. I hope you have understood, children. So this you have to practice this. This is a difficult concept. So you have to learn it properly. See the video again and again. Try to understand and try to practice the diagram also. This is very, very important topic for NEET point of view and also for your board exam. And I hope you have understood it. Please go through these videos right from the beginning up to the end. Then you are going to follow it. Share it to your friends. I want to help the children, those who are going for board exam and those who are going for long-term coaching also for NEET 2021. So you share to your friends and subscribe the channel so that it will be of maximum help to you. Thank you very much, children. Have a good day.